Good morning, America. My name is Michael Evans. You're listening to America's Voice Now. Thank you for taking the time to join with us this morning. We appreciate your listenership, your support, your sponsorship, and your attendance. There are a lot of news issues out there this morning, and we're going to be joined later on at the quarter hour with Doreen Hannes. Doreen is the purveyor of truthfarmer.org, truthfarmer.com, and she is an activist, as you know, in the property rights movement, and also in reference to our general constitutional conservatism. And she'll be joining with us this morning, where we will discuss the new bill which has been proposed by a group of Democrats in the Missouri Assembly to turn every firearm owner into a felon if they have not turned in all of their weapons within 90 days of the passage of this bill. I declare that bill to be treasonous on its face, and we'll discuss more about that on her arrival. I do want to just mention that there was a very interesting news bit out there this morning, and if you're interested at all in astronomy, I would strongly encourage you to get out there and find out what happened. There was a meteorite that exploded above Russia, and very, very amazing photographs out there. And so I would encourage you to participate in that if you can. The one issue I would like to bring up on our bullet points this morning is a matter with Fox News. It has become glaringly apparent that Fox has begun to descend into the liberal framework of all of the other mainstream media outlets. I say that because lately, if you've noticed, you will see faux news repeatedly supporting issues that are quite unconscionable. Perfect example is their article today. Why is the Department of Homeland Security buying so many bullets? And they reference the fact that there are online rumors about a big government munitions purchase that are true. Sort of. Faux news, there is nothing sort of about it. The Homeland Security Organization has purchased well in excess of 2 billion rounds since 2009. Have they all been delivered? No. Has the order been placed? Yes. Are they being manufactured and delivered as we speak? Yes. This is not sort of true. This is true. They go on to indicate that the ammo buy has agitated conspiracy theorists. That's when conservative radio talk show host Alex Jones spoke of an arms race against the American people and said the government was gearing up for total collapse. They were gearing up for huge wars. The government's explanation, according to Fox News, is much less sinister. Federal solicitations to buy the bullets are known as strategic sourcing contracts, which help the government get a low price for a big purchase. The training center and others like it are run by Homeland Security and use as many as 15 million rounds every year on shooting ranges and in training exercises. So do the math. 15 million rounds a year, 2 billion rounds of ammunition. Sounds like the Department of Homeland Security won't run out of ammo until about 2350. Dixon says, this is the woman from Peggy Dixon, spokesman for the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, says one of the contracts would allow Homeland Security to buy up to 750 million rounds of ammunition over the next 5 years for its training facilities. Well, do the math right there. At 15 million rounds per year, that's quite an annual supply. The rounds are used for basic and advanced law enforcement training for federal law enforcement agencies. The facilities offer firearms training to tens of thousands, The rest of the 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition will be purchased by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They have ordered in the last year 450 million rounds of .40 caliber duty ammunition. That's hollow point. 40 million rounds of ammunition a year for as many as 5 years, with a total buyout of 200 million rounds. Okay? So 200 million rounds, 5-year contract. What about the other 2 billion rounds? 176,000 rounds in a new separate contract, 25,000 blanks. I mean, I guess the real issue here is, why is faux news backing this administration's policies left and right? I've noticed that Bill O'Reilly has become more and more and more liberal in his review of issues surrounding our nation. And it's not him alone. It appears that Fox has been gotten to. And I will remind you that Roger Ailes and the owner of Fox News are both members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Is it realistic to assume that the Council on Foreign Relations has made it clear to these gentlemen that it is time to stop the conservative viewpoint? I think so. There's the news. There's my bullet points. I've given you something to think about. I'll let you make your own decision. And that is my bullet points for this morning. I'd like to thank our friends over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. Kenny Treat, the owner, was here yesterday. We had a discussion in reference to the types of firearms that he owns or has in his place of business. I would encourage you to get down there. You can reach them at 256-3000. That's 417-256-3000. You can find them on the web at westplainspawn, PAWN.com. They have 400 or 500 firearms in stock, accessories, magazines, ammunition, pretty much the gamut of products that are related to firearms. They're also a pawn shop and a jewelry house. Neither of those two particular things interest me very much, but the firearm side certainly does, and they have a great selection. I encourage you to get down there and work with those folks. When you get in there, make sure that you tell them that Mike sent you from America's Voice Now. Our friends at the battery station, 303 Washington Avenue, right off the square in West Plains, 417-257-7799. They can be found on the web at batterystation.com. And again, 417-257-7799. They do have ammunition in stock. And they also have the amazing Life Straw. I strongly encourage you to get down there and get yourself and every member of your family at least one, if not two. The Life Straw can save your hide when there is no other access to water anywhere else. You can literally drink straight from a puddle of dirty water and walk away unscathed. Absolute necessity for anyone, whether a hunter, fisherman, camping, just general household emergencies, whatever. This is what you need to have. Encourage you to also get down to the Pizza Hut on Porter Wagoner Boulevard. They are the amazing Pizza Hut. They have an outstanding lunch buffet that you can participate in. It runs from, I think it's 11 till 2 in the afternoon. And they have a salad bar there and pizza. So you can eat healthy and have something that tastes great. Get down to Pizza Hut. When you get in there, tell your server and or the restaurant manager that Mike from America's Voice sent you over there, so that they know where their advertising dollar goes. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. You can find us on the web at americasvoicenow.org, and you can also find us on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page has the, it's facebook.com/America's Voice Now. And we put news stories and links up there to all kinds of things. Make sure that you like and share the stories that are up there. It helps us get the word out. We'll be back in just a moment.
The area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry. Top-of-the-line handguns from Kimber, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Glock, Beretta, and many more. A wide selection of ammunition including blanks, centerfire handgun and rifle, rimfire, a variety of shotgun shells, target, and turkey. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. I'll be joined by a veteran ambassador of Africa to update us on the jihadists sweeping down from the north to the south. And Congressman Pete Sessions, our friend from Texas, now the chairman of the Powerful House Rules Committee. What's he up to and what's moving on the floor? How are they going to keep the Democrats from ruining the entire Congress? All on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sundays from 6 till 7, following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
If you're considering doing any remodeling, brand new construction, farm work, light commercial, make sure that you see the folks over at Stone Construction. You can call Bill Stone at 417-293-0116. Make him aware of your needs. He'll be more than happy to come out, take a look at the project, and give you a great price. Bill Stone has been in the construction business for some 40 years and has a crew of guys that are extremely experienced in everything for farm, home, and commercial. Make sure that you give him an opportunity to bid on your next project at 293-0116. Our friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, who has the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She's got the best coffee, the best snacks and pastries, bread, homemade bread, that will absolutely delight you and your family. Make sure that you see our friend Mary at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade, off the square. You can reach her via phone at 255-2253. Okay, we are joined this morning by Doreen Hannes, our Friday friend. And thank you for joining with us this morning, Doreen. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me on, Mike. I appreciate you, too. You're doing good work out there.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, listen, this current bill that just hit the books, the House bill from the libtards over in, I got to assume they're from Kansas City and St. Louis, where basically they're stating that if this bill were to pass, any firearms that weren't turned in after a 90-day whatever you want to call it, amnesty period, that the owner would then become a felon.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because that sounds to me like, I don't know, it brings to mind the word treason.
The entire thing brings to the mind treason for me. Actually, all of these representatives are from the St. Louis area, either St. Louis proper or just right around it.
Yeah.
And you know, this bill would basically annihilate firearm ownership within the state of Missouri unless it was a shotgun or a .22, pretty much. I mean, anything in excess of 5 rounds or with a detachable magazine. Goodbye.
Now, we have a constitution, forget the federal one, we have a constitution here in Missouri that prevents that exact issue from being brought up. So how is it that they have any idea that this would get passed, and that it would stand up to federal scrutiny or even state courts?
I don't think that they do, but I don't really think that this bill is going to go anywhere. It's been read twice. It has not been assigned to a committee as of yet. It's a really lengthy process to get legislation through, and I do not think that this will go through. But the thing that disturbs me the most, Mike, is that these people saw it as appropriate to even introduce this legislation. It's an absolute violation of the oath that they took to uphold the Missouri Constitution, and it is in violation of reason and sanity, you know.
Well, I mean, how do they expect to be able to pull it? What's the bill number again? Is it 455?
545.
Oh, 545. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, this thing is so unconstitutional on its face, both state and federal, that, I mean, it's tantamount to being able to go out there, grab a hold of these senators or House members, pull them back out of office and charge them with treason and remove them from our presence as a society. Because this thing is, in any way, shape, and form, an absolute violation of everyone's constitutional rights, both state and federal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now, understanding that it is very unlikely to go anywhere, the issue then becomes what can be done to effectively discipline these representatives for even introducing this. I mean, and there is another state bill that's really horrendous as well, Senate Bill 124, which would require any student attending any school, private or public, to have their parents submit a report of the firearms that they have in their home. So, I mean, there are other egregious things out there, but this one really takes the cake, Mike. And it's anything in excess of 5 rounds capability or with a detachable magazine.
Right. Now, of course, that automatically basically eliminates all firearms because even a revolver carries 6. And so there are a few revolvers out there that you can obtain that only handle 5, but they're fairly large calibers because you can only get that many bullets in that little circle. But the simple truth is that this would basically obliterate anything that would be a revolver, anything that would be a semi-automatic pistol, any semi-automatic rifle, and virtually all semi-automatic shotguns.
Yes.
I mean, this is I don't understand how they actually think that they'd be able to get away with this. Not to mention, the Senate Bill 124. I mean, for what the Senate Bill 124 is saying, folks, is that you have to notify the school if you own a firearm, and if you don't, I think it's a $1,000 fine, right?
That's what I recall from that one, yes. And that was from State Senator, I believe it's Marie Chappelle Nadal.
Yep, Nadal.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting last name, huh? Nadal.
Yes, it is interesting. But, this bill, House Bill 545, is being put forward by Ellinger, obviously out of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
He's the sponsor. And then Shoup, McNeil, and Walton Gray. And as I said before, they're all from St. Louis and surrounding areas. And I'd like to give their phone numbers out to people if we could, Mike.
Let's do that, because I think that would be an opportunity for us to get a hold of these folks and let them know how we really feel about that.
Mm-hmm. And Ellinger's number, now it's all going to be 573-751 with the different 4 numbers at the end. Okay, so I'll go through it, but just so everybody knows, it's 573-751-whatever whenever
right.
You're calling anyone at the Capitol.
Right. That's House and Senate, by the way.
Yes, and also there is a directory assistance number at the Capitol that if you say you don't know your representative's number or something, you can just call this number, and that's 573-751-2000.
Got it.
Okay.
That's much like the bill number that we give out for the federal Congress,
right.
Where you can dial 202-224-3121. It hits a switchboard. You just ask for your representative by name, and then they route you to that office.
Right, exactly. So, so there's the easy button in case you don't have time or...
That was easy.
Yeah, the easy button. Anyway, so Ellinger's number is 573-751-4265, and that is the sponsor, and I believe he should get a tremendous amount of phone calls. Then Representative Shoup is 573-751-9762.
All right.
And then McNeil, 573-751-5365. So 5365.
Gotcha.
Walton Gray, 573-751-5538. 5538.
Okay.
And these are the only brave souls who have signed on to this as of yet.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity, and I think that this leans further towards the latter than the former.
I would say so myself. This bill, actually, reading it made me very angry, Mike.
Yeah, I've read it, and it reads like some kind of it's in legalese, but for all intents and purposes, this thing is unconscionable bill that I have seen come up. In fact, it's made national news because of the fact that it's so absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. Yes,
So.
it is. And I mean, it effectively it redefines the public perception of an assault rifle.
Right.
Okay. It states basically that an assault rifle or an assault weapon is anything with a pistol grip or thumb hole stock.
Right.
Any feature capable of a protruding grip that can be held by the non-trigger hand, a folding or telescoping stock, or a shroud attached to the barrel that encircles the barrel, allowing the holder of the firearm to hold it with a non-trigger hand. Any semi-automatic pistol or any semi-automatic centerfire or rimfire with a fixed magazine.
Right.
That can hold more than 10 rounds.
Right.
And then a semi-automatic pistol that has the capacity to accept a detachable magazine or more of the following.
Right. You know, by the way, that capacity to accept more than 10 rounds on a rimfire, that takes every Glenfield Model 60 that we all grew up with. That was generally the first rifle that we got when we were kids, you know, where you've got that tube feed, and that holds more than 10. So therefore, all of those Glenfield Model 60s that we all have that we got to go squirrel hunting or target shooting when we were kids or learn how to basically handle firearm safety, all of those would make you and classify you as a felon under the law. I think if this bill were to be passed, and I mean, just assuming that no one was willing to turn them all in, you would probably have somewhere close to the tune of about 65% of Missouri who would have to go to prison. I mean, really. That's what we're talking about. 65% of the state of Missouri would have to be placed in prison under felony charges. Everyone from children, from the age of 15 onward, all the way up until their 90s.
My goodness. Well,
who's going to pay for all those prisons, by the way?
I guess that would be us.
Oh,
perhaps with the sales tax that they're going to put on the internet. I don't know, Mike. Heck, Who has to pay for anything? All we do is just enter more digits on an electronic screen.
There
correct?
you go. That just solves the whole problem.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what this actually is. This is a counter to the Second Amendment Preservation Act, House Bill 436. And this is the one that I do support. And here's here's what you folks need to know about this. This House Bill 436 is the one which, by the way, has dozens of sponsors and co-sponsors. And it is an absolute... It reads, and I strongly encourage everyone to get out there and read this bill. Just type in Missouri House Bill 436 and read it for yourself, because it has a preamble that reads like constitutional language was meant to read. Yeah. And it's actually 2 pages of that before they get to the actual portion of the bill. But what I really like about it is that it states very clearly, emphatically, that under the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 23 of the Missouri Constitution, all federal rules and laws, whether they are acts, laws, orders, rules, and regulations, past, present, and or future, which infringe on the people's right to keep and bear arms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment, are hereby null, void, and of no effect in this state. And that includes the following: the provisions of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1934 and the provisions of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968. And it also bars any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on any firearm or accessory or ammunition. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, or would put the state of Missouri back on the track of what everything was before 1934. That means that you could pretty much own whatever you wanted. You can go out to a hardware store and buy your kid a gun. You don't have to be worried about whether or not you can take a gun onto private property and use it for target practice and all those types of things. You don't have to worry about magazines. You don't have to worry about the capacity of them, how to buy ammo, where to buy it, registration of it, and those types of things. Mm-hmm. This, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what Restore Missouri was built and designed to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we can talk further about this and also take your calls on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline. That telephone number is 417-257-1111. And if you're in the hinterlands, you can dial us at 866-554-6636. We'll be right back.
News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. Thousands of passengers from a Carnival cruise ship stranded for days at sea after an onboard fire, now happy to be back on dry land.
Adriana Perez of Houston says she's done with boats.
Never again in my life will I go on another cruise.
But Mike Westwood of San Antonio is ready for another go-around.
I'd go tomorrow. If you fall off a bicycle, you don't never ride it again.
He just wants a shower first.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown in Mobile, Alabama, where the ship docked. The first double amputee ever to compete in the Olympics, dubbed the Blade Runner, appearing in the South African court on a murder charge.
Oscar Pistorius broke down in tears as he faced this charge in court for the first time. Premeditated murder can carry a life sentence. He's accused of shooting his girlfriend dead at his home.
Fox Radio's Simon Owen in London. Pistorius denying the charge, quote, in the strongest terms. A bail hearing is set for Tuesday. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Family Fun and Fitness, LLC presents rape and assault prevention classes at Country Cupboard in Licking, Missouri. Men, women, boys, and girls, if you want to know how to stack the deck in your favor in a situation where violence is the only answer, this class is for you. Rape and assault prevention classes are held Monday evenings at 5:30 beginning February 11th and run through March 18th. Class size is limited, so call today 417-260-1006 or register at Country Cupboard, 217 North Highway 63 in Licking.
The winter storm season is here. When we have another ice storm, are you ready? What will you do for heat, food, or water if the power goes out for an extended period? Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance can help you get ready. We have storage food, water purifiers, alternative cooking sets, and a whole lot more. Come see us at 3225 Highway 62 East, Suite number 3, just a half mile past Walmart in Mountain Home. Or call us at 492-4030. That's Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance.
If you missed America's Voice Now at 8 a.m. this morning, catch a repeat of America's Voice Now with your host, Michael Evans, at 8 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday, right here on 107.1, the Ozark's best news talk radio network.
Everybody knows Crossroads Convenience has the coldest beer in town, but did you also know they have U-Haul rentals available 7 days a week? The best hot beverage selection of coffee and cappuccinos to help keep your body warm during these colder Ozark days and nights. That's Crossroads Convenience in West Plains.
Weather is a service of News Talk 107.1 The Point. Contact Josh or Cody at 255-2548 for more information on making weather sponsorships part of your marketing plans.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we'll have cloudy skies becoming mostly sunny as we head through the day. The high 42, partly cloudy tonight, low 24. Sunshine tomorrow, high 38, mostly sunny Sunday, high 48. Showers are likely Washington's birthday, the high 52. I'm staff meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
If you or someone you know is among the millions of Americans with migraine, there's new information you need to know to help prevent these horrible headaches. New guidelines from the American Academy of Neurology and the American Headache Society find certain seizure drugs along with certain beta blockers are effective for preventing migraine attacks. Over-the-counter drugs including ibuprofen and naproxen, as well as some herbal remedies, may also help. For a complete list of treatments recommended, visit AAN.com.
All right, we are returning. We have with us this morning Doreen Hannes. Doreen is our Friday friend, and she is the purveyor of truthfarmer.com. It's an outstanding blog that not only supports property rights issues, but also all kinds of issues surrounding self-reliance, food, and that kind of thing. And I strongly encourage you to participate with her efforts there. Make sure that you get on there and you use that as a daily Bible. There's a lot of great stories that are posted up there. Do you have a Facebook page as well?
Yes, I do. It's just my name, Doreen Hannes.
Okay, so it's facebook.com/Doreen, that's D-O-R-E-E-N, Hannes, H-A-N-N-E-S. All right? D-O-R-E-E-N-H-A-N-N-E-S. Okay, we've got a caller on the line who I'm sure would like to have some input. He is calling us on the Wits End Classic Barbershop Hotline. Go ahead. Welcome to the show, caller.
Good morning, Mike and Doreen. This is Richie from Branson.
Richie from Branson.
Hello there.
Hello there. You know, it ceases to amaze me that they need a bill like the bill you're just talking about, when in fact Article 6 in the Constitution already says this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, and anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. Why do we need a bill?
But you're expecting these libtards to actually support the rule of law.
Right.
You know what's happening here, Mike? A few years ago, Jay Leno said something about the Constitution, about there was a country that was developing and they needed a Constitution. He said, send them ours. It worked very well for us for 200 years. We don't use it anymore, so just give them ours.
Yeah, but Ginsburg from the Supreme Court said that she would not use our Constitution as a model for an emerging country.
Yeah, I know. But
wow.
You know what?
Did you hear?
One thing I would like to have you listeners tell your listeners: the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution for the United States is not dead. It just isn't read, and it would be food for everybody to start reading it. It ceases to amaze me that I could run into people who could tell me who plays third base, how many home runs he's got, how many errors he's got, and when you ask them, well, you know the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, they look at you like you just came from Mars.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a shame.
That's our public school system doing its work.
Welcome to the United States of apathy.
But you know what? I have to be honest with you. It wasn't until talk radio came on the scene back in the 80s in my life when I started taking an interest in things that the schools should have taught me. Mm-hmm. Right. And I put all the other amusements aside and said, hey, it's time to roll up our sleeves and clean house.
Sure. Well, listen, I mean, the simple truth is this. We all know that our public school systems are failing our students, not only just in the basic concepts of how to do critical thinking, but also in the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic. I mean, most of these kids are graduating and they can't do math without a calculator. They can't read. They have no capacity to do any kind of critical thought process or reasoning. They don't know how to do research. All they're interested in is video games, how to chat with their friends, how to talk to their people on Facebook and on their cell phones. And
right. They want to play Call for Duty or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the duty, they're being called. There is a duty. I mean, their rights are on the line. But, the only rights they care about is whether they had the right to buy a video game at their age at Walmart or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the issue with that, though, is that it's been a concerted effort, and it isn't necessarily those young people's fault that they are the way that they are. It's this conditioning process. It's the destruction of the family. It's the destruction of actual education in favor of social conditioning. And all we can do is, try to interface with them to snap them to. And a lot of them are snapping to one extent or another, okay? But there's a crack in that shell that we have to take advantage of, and critical thinking, as you said, Mike, it's taught. It's not an inherent trait in people.
Agreed.
So, it has not been being taught since I was in school, and that's been a while already, So
they don't even teach civics class anymore.
I never had it.
Well, and on top of that, they're not teaching cursive anymore. You can't, they're not teaching people how to read. These kids are getting out of school and they cannot read, and I'm here to tell you, I don't even care if you're a high school dropout. Reading is the one thing that will absolutely change your life.
Yes.
And if you can read, you can learn everything that you would need to learn in school, with the exception perhaps of mathematics, where you may get the theory, but sometimes you just need somebody to help you through the actual practical applications of it. But the simple truth is that by reading, you can learn everything that you need to know about science, geography, history. I mean, it's all there.
Yes.
And you learn to be a great speller. You learn how to string 3 sentences together in a coherent argument. And that's the problem, is they're not teaching these kids how to be adults.
Exactly. And that's all by design.
Absolutely, it is. That's why we have a national education system that needs to be disbanded and $100 billion returned to the 50 states every year.
Well, I'd like to point out that the Department of Education was established, I believe it was under Carter, in 1977. We were number 1 in the world in education, and now we're 17.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
In what, 30 short years, right? Or 40 years, yep.
Yeah, 40 years.
Now, Mike, I could verify your statement there. I am a high school dropout.
So am I.
And I'm glad I dropped out. Man, I thank God I dropped out, because God only knows what they could have done to my mind to close it some more. But I was born and raised in Philadelphia, not too far from Independence Hall, and I've always been a history buff. And I don't know whether it was my maker put something in my genes that says something is not right here. You know, my favorite subject was history, but something is not right in America. And I could not figure it out until I started tuning into talk radio and started going to meetings here and there. And before you know it, I realized that we've been taken over. Khrushchev told this to Kennedy one time. He says, "You Americans are so gullible about communism that you don't know. We've already infiltrated into your institutions. We're feeding you small doses of socialism that one day when you wake up, you're going to find out you're already communist. We'll take you over without firing a shot." And the only way to take over a nation without firing a shot, get them to volunteer. But how do you get them to volunteer? You got to get into their minds.
Well, you get them early in school. Hey, right. I want to thank you for the call. The phone lines are jamming.
Okay. Good.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. This is Susan in Thayer.
Hi, Susan in Thayer.
The book I was trying to sell the other day, can I read a paragraph from it?
Yes, if you're quick, because we've got a break coming up.
Americans have been conditioned to believe to the point of blindness. Now that our eyes are being opened, we are realizing the chains were never there. Rather, only an illusion to make us believe them to be so.
Very good. Very well put. And that is the truth. Folks, I said this last Saturday. We are prisoners of our own making and our own design. We place these limits on ourselves with our thoughts, with our ideas and opinions, which are, for all intents and purposes, geared towards we look at everything as if we have hit the end of the pathway. And instead of thinking outside the box and thinking, what can I do to make things better? What can I do to improve myself? We simply just fail and falter and refuse to stand up when we've been knocked down. And, you know, I've said it. I said it on Saturday, and I'm going to say it again. If we read, find a topic that interests you. I don't care what that topic may be. Find the one thing that gets your interest, whether that be banking or whether it be military issues, whether it be Second Amendment issues. Find something that really excites you and become a subject matter expert on it. And then go out and take that information which you have gathered and learned and proselytize to those around you. That is how we will be able to restore our nation. Short of that, you will die in your ignorance. That's the simple truth.
Right. Hey, Mike, I'd like to point out, if I have time here, that what we should do in the case of this bill and the sponsors of this bill is to try to get our legislature to conduct a disciplinary action against these representatives for introducing this garbage.
Well, there are rules in the House that allow us, under the ethics rules, to be able to do that, are there not?
I believe there are, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, how do we go about doing that? I mean, do we need to do some sort of a petition that would enable us to have a grassroots effort to censure these people?
I think that would be good, and I think that the subject of the petition, if you will, needs to be Tim Jones, the Speaker of the House. And we have three mechanisms in the Missouri legislative law. There's censure for a moral wrong or a legal wrong, a letter of reproval, reprimand, and all of these things have consequences outside of just saying, hey, you were bad. They constrain the rights and privileges of office for these individuals.
Right.
So I think that would be a great idea if we did an online petition and we could work with other groups around the state so we'd have a broad base. I am positive that the vast majority of this state is just appalled at the introduction of this legislation.
Sure. Well, you've got a website, I've got a website, we've both got Facebook pages. There are hundreds of other Facebook pages out there that are similar and supportive of what we do. Let's make sure that we get a couple, not a poll, but a petition together, and we can place it on your site or mine, or I don't care where we do it. But as long as we get people to literally go on there, read this brief, and I think it should be very brief, because We want it short and quick, right? And then boom, put your mark at the bottom of it, and we'll gather enough signatures that we can go up there to Jones and say, here, take action against these people. What they've done and suggested is treasonous.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back, folks. You're listening to America's Voice Now. We'll be back in just a moment.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, your Class 3 dealer for automatic weapons and suppressors, including Gemtech and Huntertown, with a great selection of holsters, slings, magazines, and gun storage options. West Plains Pawn and Jewelry will also do special orders. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
Imagine having your check deposited every month on time with no hassle and at no cost to you. Direct deposit with Community First puts your Social Security, retirement, or payroll check directly into any of your Community First accounts. It's just as safe and secure as if you made the deposit in person. Make things easy with direct deposit at Community First.
Living up to our name, Community First Banking Company.
Community First. Member FDIC.
Pacific Beach Tanning and Fitness is ready to help you look and feel your best in 2013. Start with UV therapy. There's nothing like a deep warmth of a tanning bed to ease muscle and joint pain and eliminate the winter blues. Next, step into our fully equipped gym and get in a great workout. Finally, reward yourself with a session on the PowerWave massage bed. Do something great for yourself and take a trip to the beach. Pacific Beach Tanning and Fitness, 110 West Trish Knight Street, downtown West Plains.
All right, we are back. We are joined again by Doreen Hannes. Doreen is the owner and purveyor of a blog that gives you a lot of good information in reference to food information, property rights organizations, and such. It's called truthfarmer.com, and she also has a Facebook page at facebook.com/Doreen Hannes, DoreenHannes. We've got another phone call here, and good morning, caller.
Morning, Mike and Doreen. It's Mike and Thayer.
Good morning, Mike and Thayer.
Hello, Mike and Thayer.
Hi there. Why don't we invite the sponsors of this atrocious bill to come to the Firearms Freedom Symposium and justify their actions?
Yeah, well, it ain't gonna happen. I mean,
right.
you're wasting 4 stamps.
You're probably right.
5 stamps. I mean, honestly, they're never gonna come to that. I mean, it would be like Daniel walking into the lion's den without prayer.
Well, let's get the
or without a prayer, right?
Yeah, I think that's more appropriate.
So I don't see that happening.
Well, go ahead and invite them, Mike. I'm absolutely for it. I think that everybody ought to be at that Firearms Freedom Symposium.
Absolutely.
We'll send emails today and save the stamps. And,
all right.
If we get the petition together, we'll get signatures here.
Sure, great.
We will get the petition together.
Yeah, and we can do that, by the way. We can have all those people who come on the 5th to the Firearms Symposium to sign it as well.
Great.
So,
one quick plug I want to get in, especially for the fellow with the GED, so that he can get a university degree. Ozark Self-Reliant Living University classes this weekend. Willow Springs in the Ferguson Building, Saturday, 1 to 3. West Plains, Sunday, 1 to 3 at the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Right.
The subject is beekeeping.
Okay, great.
How to get your own honey.
There you go.
And
we had that yesterday.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It was Valentine's Day.
And if anyone has questions on that or needs directions, it's 417-264-2435. Both of you keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. We're going to make sure we'll Mike, send me the links on that, and we'll put it up on the site.
Will do.
Great. Okay, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. Folks, March 5th is the Firearms Symposium in Springfield at, it's called Remington Center. And Larry Pratt is going to be there along with some other keynote speakers. There will be some folks there who are sponsors that will have tables and that kind of thing. Great opportunity for you to come out and hear from Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America. He's the executive director, and strongly encourage you to come out there and participate in that event. It will have a lot of news coverage, and so we want to make sure that there's a good showing there to show the rest of America exactly how Missouri handles the issues surrounding firearms. It will be a carry event, and so you're strongly encouraged to carry a firearm with you that day, and we'll have more information about it up on the websites, both Doreen's and mine, and on our Facebook pages. It is March 5th. Put that down on your calendar. It runs, I think, from 3 or 4 o'clock, right, Doreen?
Yes, 3 o'clock until about 10 o'clock, and the actual event begins at 6.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's make sure, folks, that you're participating in that, because even if we just, a group of folks carpool up and that kind of thing, because it's in Springfield, please make sure that you participate in that. I hear over and over and over, well, I'm just one person. I don't know what I can do. Well, here's what you can do. You can show up at that thing, and you can have your voice heard and make your, allow your body to speak along with 1,000 other people to say, we will not tolerate the abuse of our Second Amendment rights, and that's it. And we're here to show that we're in support of our Second Amendment rights. So we're also going to we're going to be doing a press release with Larry that day also on that that landowner who's got a 20-acre parcel that he's willing to provide a lease for a firearms manufacturer to come here. And speaking of that, there are 5 companies that have recently just told New York to go pound salt. That they are going to be leaving the state, and they're going to be leaving the state as a result of the onerous regulatory and taxation issues that are going on in that state. And they're basically stating we're not going to live in a police state, and they're refusing to sell products and services to state and local government for the state of New York.
Absolutely.
As a result of New York's unconstitutional gun ban. Yes. So it's a great opportunity for us to get businesses like this who want to leave there and come here.
Right. And that the House Bill 436 would be a wonderful
Oh, my
thing
goodness.
To get through
Imagine
there.
436 passing along with the House Bill 77, which is right to work. Yes. And, oh, my goodness, we would be deluged in manufacturing. In fact, we could be the gun capital of the country.
And that would be a very good thing since we're located well for central distribution.
There you go. We're right smack in the middle of the country.
Yep.
Imagine that.
So it would be perfect. And actually, this issue with these Democratic liberal goofballs introducing this legislation, it actually stuns me that in the state of Missouri that even the Democratic Party would allow this to happen, because there are a great deal of Democrats that are very much into the Second Amendment and protecting the Second Amendment. And I know that nationally that isn't the case, but in the state of Missouri it is the case. So for these people to do this, there are really 2 avenues of reprimand and public humiliation that we could pursue. It would be a House censure or other disciplinary action, as well as a Democratic Party censure.
Well, we've got to participate, and if we're not gonna, then we've got no right to complain. And here's those 5 companies in New York State who have stood up and declared their intention publicly. LaRue Tactical, by the way, LaRue is one of the finest manufacturers of tactical firearms on the planet. I mean, their stuff is just absolutely top-notch, 5-star all the way. Olympic Arms, Extreme Firepower, Templar Custom, and York Arms. These companies are putting their money where their mouth is, and they're saying, we don't live in a police state. If we can't sell our products to citizens, we won't be selling to state and local government. Hey, wow. What a concept, right? Why isn't every business doing that?
Absolutely.
So between right to work and which is House Bill 77, couple that with House Bill 436, which is completely pre-1934 firearms legislation, nullifying all federal laws in the state of Missouri, folks, we are in a perfect position to be able to offer for Colt and Taurus and Smith & Wesson to come here to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are companies that provide literally thousands of jobs, and in an area that interests all of us. So, and they're good skilled jobs. These are jobs for guys who are going to be who are machinists and things like that. So, this is not the kind of thing that we should be overlooking, and we need right to work to entice these companies to come here. Not just firearms manufacturers, but everybody involved in that industry, and a host of other industries that are completely unconnected to firearms. Texas is grabbing them up as fast as they can, folks. Let's make sure that we get some of those cards on the table.
Right, because Texas actually had a surplus last year, and Missouri did not.
Right.
Just in case anyone was wondering.
Well, we're also 50th in job creation in the nation. Now, contrary to President Obama's assertion, there's really only 50 states, not 57,
right.
And we are 50th, which means we are dead last. Did you hear that, folks? Dead last in job creation. So, Doreen, let's give out those numbers one more time on the the 4 treasonous senators who put up House Bill number 545.
You bet. Okay. Those would be Ellinger, 573-751-4265. He is the sponsor. Shoup, 573-751-9762. That's Shoup. McNeil, 573-751-5365. And then Walton Gray, 573-751-5538. Now, they're in session for a brief time this morning, and then they're adjourned until 4 p.m. on Monday. My suggestion is to jam the phones up so that they have no more room on their answering machine, and then Monday morning begin to call again.
There we go.
Call all night.
There we go. Mm-hmm. So, folks, it's 573-751, and then you just use the last 4 digits. Ellinger, 4265. Shoup, 9762. McNeil, 5365. And Gray, 5538. House Bill 545. Give 'em hell.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to wrap our show. Doreen, I want to thank you. Again, you have made a Friday a different and unusual day full of good information. Thank you very, very much. Okay. Folks, her website is truthfarmer.com. And her Facebook site is facebook.com/Doreen Hannes. That's DOREENHANNES.
All right.
Thanks so much, dear.
Military crest wearing Target shirts, right, Mike?
There you go. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Care. Bless.
Folks, you can find us on americasvoicenow.org. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/AmericasVoiceNow. And this and every other show that we do is posted up to YouTube every day after the show, and that you can find at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. Please make sure that you are active and participating with us. I also want to thank real quickly Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, Ozark MTN, selfreliance.com. 870-492-4030, 1/2 mile east of Walmart on Route 62 in Mountain Home. Please make sure that you support our sponsors and our friend Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop. He is the sponsor of our phone lines. Great haircuts, $10. Hot lather shave with a straight razor. You just can't beat it. Go in there and get yourself pampered. Girls, get your husband or boyfriend a belated Valentine's gift and take him in there for a good shave and a haircut. Folks, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. We are going to have Bill Slants on tomorrow morning. He is the representative for the Libertarian Party, and our calls, our phone lines were just jammed when he was on with us the other day, so we're going to have him on tomorrow morning for full telephone calls from you and your questions. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Let's get to the point.
Well, let me get to the point.
FM News Talk for the Ozarks is FM 107.1, The Point, KBMV.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. It looked and sounded like an attack, but it was a streaking meteor that hit a Russian city, injuring nearly 1,000 people. Fox News Radio's Jessica Gallagher, live in Moscow.
Dave, witnesses say they saw a giant ball of light with a white tail at the end and then heard several